I couldn't be more excited to introduce our speaker to you tonight. Sonnie Johnson is a political pundit, Tea Party activist, and regular contributor to Breitbart.com. You may recognize her from her numerous appearances on Fox News, including Hannity and Red Eye, my personal favorite. She is the founder of DidSheSayThat.com, where she regularly provides unique and refreshing conservative commentary. Definitely recommend you guys all check out that website after the speech. Sonnie's core strengths lie in her ability to synthesize street-level tactics with public policy in a way that kind of allows her to speak to all kinds of different audiences. She has an incredible ability to frame everyday political discussions in a very engaging and very accessible way. So we're honored to host her here at GW this evening in her first Young America's Foundation speech. So please welcome me in joining Sonnie Johnson.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. When I first got the invitation, I was getting ready to go full pantsuit. I was like, I got to take this a little bit seriously. So I'm serious. I was going to go totally Hillary Clinton on you guys. But when I saw the article up on BuzzFeed about our little engagement, I was like, wait a minute. They're expecting me to show up. So let me give them what they're expecting. But it reminds me of one of the insults. It's supposed to be an insult that gets leveled at me. She sounds like all the right-wing talking points, but she's straight out of the ghetto. I don't know which part is supposed to be insulting, the fact that I'm a conservative or the fact that I'm not afraid to say where I'm from. But either way, I take it as a compliment. Regardless, when I looked at the BuzzFeed article, I love the idea of having Jay-Z clap for me. So, like, even on my computer now, it's stuck at that frame. So every time I click on it, Jay-Z pops up and he's clapping for me. And I was like, yay! So I wanted to make sure that when I came here today, I made sure I touched every single reason that was laid out in that article for you to come and see me tonight. And make sure that they didn't make a liar out of me in that instance. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So let's start with the first one. I'm a black conservative. Our generation has never attended segregated schools. We have never drank from separate water fountains. We have always grown up together in a sort of respectful way. The civil rights leaders of the 60s, they did their job. They won their fight. And no matter what the Clive and Bundys of the world have to say, we would not be better off if Jim Crow was still in America. But that was their fight to win. That was their fight to wage. We face a totally different war, socially, economically, and with individual morality. Our generation has to have new tactics. And I believe that having a limited government, I feel something to say. We're losing. You know, I wrote something in the speech, and I kind of wanted to go on the guidelines of that, but we're losing. And we lose race after race, time after time. Even now, when everything is blatantly clear and we should have no problem sailing into victory, we still lose, we still struggle, we can be outspent, we can be out registered to vote. We still lose, and that's something that we cannot afford to do anymore. We must realize that this is our war, and it's time that we claim the mantle of this war. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I put that in there. And our battle cry should be for limited government, for free markets, an end to crony capitalism, and a total restoration of our constitutional rights. It's really that simple. That's what makes me a conservative. Nothing more. Not even skin color. But we get stuck so much on what divides us. Now, at this point, I'm supposed to blame the media. I'm supposed to blame politicians. But we're Americans. Nobody makes us do anything that we don't want to do. We cannot be persuaded. We cannot be indoctrinated if we don't allow ourselves to be so. Once we come to that basic understanding, we can change all the conversations that are currently happening in America today. But we don't. We keep blaming each other and calling each other names and fighting pointless bickering on Twitter and Facebook instead of actually getting something solved. Well, here's my task. I have to convince two totally different groups, conservatives that hate hip-hop and a black generation of hip-hoppers that hate conservatives, that we are actually saying the same thing. So let's bring in, if you believe these 10 things, then what would you call this person? I'm going to list 10 things. I want you to think about it. What would you call this person? Number 1, I value my freedom, and I'm only willing to sacrifice in defense of my morals, values, and principles. Number 2, I believe in the Second Amendment. Not only is it a right, but also a responsibility to protect my person, my property, and my family. Number 3, I follow the golden rule and treat others the way I want to be treated. It is a matter of my personal honor. Number 4, I understand you have to prioritize life. And first among these things should never be money. Number 5, I believe in personal responsibility and understand that it comes with sacrifice. Number 6, I understand that life is not fair. I choose to deal with the situation in front of me instead of crying how it should be. Number 7, I pray to God for his strength and let him move through me to better any situation. I never settle for man's design. Number 8, I know one major law of science that transcends into the law of man. For every action, there is a reaction. So I weigh the consequences of my actions. Number 9, I believe in peace, but I know that some wars must be fought. And number 10, there are drugs, crime, violence, poverty, and death in our communities. Every day, black people are numbing themselves with drugs and alcohol to have some joy in an otherwise horrible existence. The black community voted for hope and change. What's up? Those 10 things, what would you call that person? A patriot? An American? A decent human being? Well, I call him Jay-Z. And this is the moment where conservatives' heads pop off. You know, you lie like I'm Obama at the State of the Union. Jay-Z is not my favorite rapper. I don't have a favorite rapper. I have a favorite rapper for what I'm feeling at the time. I don't listen to Drake yell YOLO because I want to learn something. I listen to Drake sing Doing It Wrong because I want to feel something. Just like a lot of young girls who pop, lock, and drop it because they want to forget or ignore something. Each artist has his own lane. Jay-Z just happens to be, in my humble opinion, the greatest philosopher by pure definition in the hip-hop generation. That's how I always talk about his lyrics in a philosophical sense. Jay-Z is a success story for every little boy that is nowhere near possessing the medical intellect of a Ben Carson, or the military intellect of an Allen West, or the foreign affairs intellect of a Condoleezza Rice, or the legal intellect of a Clarence Thomas. Those little black boys can grab hold of the hard knock life intellect of Jay-Z with hopes of mirroring his success. And it is the same entrepreneurial intellect of a Herman Cain. It is the same financial intellect of a Thomas Sowell. And it's the same straight talk intellect of a Larry Elder. I guess this is where I'm going to insert number 5 from the BuzzFeed list. But the right, they can't see that because they believe he has the political intellect of a Barack Obama. I've made this challenge, and I'll make it again. Find me the Jay-Z clip where he agrees with Obama's policy. He is very straightforward that he voted for and supports Barack Obama because he's black. Now, I happen to believe it's because the right treats him like a stain on American society instead of an example of the American dream. A couple of months before Barack Obama announced his candidacy for president, Nas and Jay-Z released a song called Black Republican. And in the song, they were not calling us coons and Uncle Toms. I just wonder what would have happened if the higher-ups from the Republican Party had humbled themselves to go to 2 icons of hip-hop culture and asked them to be representative of the Republican brand. But Jay-Z used to sell drugs. And the last 3 presidents bought and smoked them. His music is all about sex, drugs, and violence. Yeah, and all Tea Partiers are racist. He's a thug, and I just don't like him. Well, that's an interesting choice of words. Let me bring hip-hop in, BuzzFeed number 2. I'm going to bring hip-hop in. Y'all remember the 10 principles I said earlier? Those 10 things. I value my freedom, and I'm only willing to sacrifice it in defense of my morals, values, and principles, right? That's all good. Until Jay-Z says, I ain't never been to jail, I'll never tell, even if it means sitting in a cell. I've never been to jail because I value my freedom. The only way my freedom can be taken away from me is if I get convicted of a crime. So therefore, I stay away from crime, don't have that worry, I value my freedom. The only way I will do it is if it goes against something inside of me that I'm willing to sacrifice it for. So in one term, it's all good for conservatives to run around yelling freedom. But if he says that he wants his freedom outside of a jail cell, then he's saying something completely different. The second one is, I believe in my Second Amendment. Not only is the right, but a responsibility to protect my person, my property, and my family. But when Jay would say, I ain't never ran, never will. I ain't never been smacked. A nigga better keep his hands to himself or get clapped for what's under that man's belt. It's violence. He didn't initiate violence. He didn't say, I want to go out and cause violence to someone else. He said, keep your hands to yourself. If you don't, I have a Second Amendment right that will make sure you keep your hands to yourself. How many NRA people understand that? But when Jay-Z says it, it's violence. I follow the golden rule and treat others the way I want to be treated. It's a matter of my personal honor. I have never asked for nothing I don't demand of myself. Death before dishonor. You want respect? I want respect. I'll give you respect. I demand it in return. I demand loyalty in return. I demand trust in return. All of these things, you give them to me, I'll offer them to you. When will the Republican Party understand that all they have to do is offer? And then maybe you can have some of these people actually accept. I understand that you have to prioritize in life. And first among these things should never be money. But when Jay would say honesty, loyalty, friends, and then wealth, look at the order. Where's the money? It's at the end. It's the byproduct. When you have things like honesty and loyalty, and then you surround yourself with people that only want to see you do the best out of life, the wealth builds itself. But everybody will tell you that Jay-Z puts the wealth in the forefront, when even he tells you that he doesn't. I believe in personal responsibility and understand it comes with sacrifice. I'll tighten my belt before I beg for help. Foolish pride is what held me together through these years. He didn't say I'll run to the Social Security building and try to connect the dots until A meets B. No, I will tighten my belt. I will make sacrifices. I will cut things off. It's personal responsibility of knowing that you keep yourself pride by doing the things that are first and foremost in your life for yourself. I mean, that sounds like something Mitt Romney would have got booed for. I understand that life is not fair. I choose to deal with the situation in front of me instead of crying about how it should be. I wasn't felt, which is why I never played myself. I just played the hand I'm dealt. I don't cry about it. I get my cards, I see what I can do, and I play them. But I know the next hand is going to be better. I'm not out marching and protesting and breaking windows to show you that I'm mad. Wouldn't that be a message we would love to carry to the black community? I pray to God for strength and let him move through me to better any situation. I never settle for man's design. I can't say I've never kneeled before God and prayed for better cause, sometimes to no avail, but I never sit back feeling sorry for myself. If you don't give me heaven, I raise hell until it's heaven. Which means if you bring chaos around me, you bring confusion around me, then I got an issue with you, because that's not how my life works. God gives me peace, and when you bring something outside of that peace, then me and you have conflict. What's wrong with that? I know one major law of science transcends into the law of man. For every action, there is a reaction. I weigh the consequences of my actions. Now, if you shoot my dog, I'm going to kill your cat. It's just the unwritten laws of rap. Know that. For every action, there's a reaction. Pretty simple. It's not, again, I'm not instituting the violence to you. I'm just saying that if it happens, then I will respond. What's wrong with that? I believe in peace, but I also know some wars must be fought. They say an eye for an eye, we both lose our sight, and two wrongs don't make a right. But when you've been wronged all along and there's only one life, at what point does one fight? Okay, I'm supposed to fight things. I'm not supposed to want to compromise. When it comes to school choice, I'm not going to compromise. When it comes to my Second Amendment, I'm not going to compromise. When it comes to having my full range of constitutional rights, I am not going to compromise. I understand that sometimes there is a reason you stand up and you wage war. Who disagrees with that? And then the last one about the drugs and the crime, just to read it straight out. Mr. President, there's drugs in our residence. Tell me what you want me to do. Come break bread with us. Mr. Governor, I swear there's a cover-up. Every other corner there's a liquor store. What the fuck is up? He didn't blame white people. He didn't blame a ghost. He didn't categorize you under any false pretenses. He put blame where it lays on governments who have been elected to hold positions and they are failing their communities. So it's not pointing fingers, it's not playing gotcha. It says, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, people in positions of power, what are you doing for our communities? But we can't, I'm not supposed to say those things because Jay-Z is such a bad guy. The name of the song, ironically, is called Justify My Thug. It's actually called Justify My Thug. He's not even disagreeing with you that he is a thug. He's saying that if you're going to use that word to define me, then let me give you a definition of exactly who I am. He destroys the stereotype and shows we're alike, but these things can't be discussed in mixed company because then problems might actually get solved. We can't accept solutions from a person like that. We can't accept that person because they come from the institution of hip-hop. The self-righteous right will kill the Republican Party. I'll repeat. The self-righteous right will kill the Republican Party. So we'll go to number 4 on the BuzzFeed list, my own acronym, which is WHWD. It's what would he, hood, hip-hop, and history do. Anything I do, I take it through those 4 pillars. If it comes out the other end, then it is a principle that I hold. Okay? So I'm going to justify my statement by using those 4 pillars. I'm going to be very flippant with this because I will get up here and start preaching. Everybody remembers the Democrats booed God. They took them out of their platform, and we know that that's wrong, right? Everybody knows that. We can agree with that. But what Republicans do is far worse. They make people feel that they are unworthy of God. If your walk isn't perfect, if there is sin in your life, if you step outside of these boundaries, a lot of the vote in public is outside of those boundaries. You don't have to change who you are or the faith that you have to understand that that person hasn't made it all the way to God yet. Give them some time. Give them some grace. And don't stop them while they're on their journey towards Him. Hood. Black people aren't angels. Some are perfectly fit to be Democrats and will make every wrong decision, never wanting to be held accountable for their actions. That's fine. Let the Democrats have them. The self-righteous Republican doesn't draw a line of distinction. They can't fathom that someone who grew up in an urban environment, immersed in hip-hop culture, and educated in the public school system can still be a conservative. That's what makes urban communities a lost cause to so many self-righteous Republicans. History. The Republican Party was started with politicians in the wig dismissed the abolitionists who wanted to end slavery. The self-righteous of the Republican Party are not listening to the calls of a limited government, a restoration of constitutional rights, or an end to crony capitalism. History tends to repeat itself. History shows that Democrats rebrand, Republicans self-destruct. Hip-hop. Capitalism is praised in hip-hop. No rapper sings about wanting to live in Section 8 or having an EBT card. Rest in peace to ODB, because he was the only rapper that I know who actually did, or about living on government dependency. The self-righteous Republican doesn't actually believe in a free market. If he did, he could justify not supporting hip-hop as a personal choice. But he couldn't dismiss the entire hip-hop genre because it is a multi-billion-dollar international industry. It is not a passing fad. As some might say, the market has spoken. Money goes where it is welcome. So think about a multi-billion-dollar international industry that never donates to your cause because you are too high and mighty to offer them a seat at the table. So you put it all together, and you have a party ruled by the self-righteous that doesn't accept sinners and won't engage them for support. So they watch these sinners throw financial and name recognition to their rivals while simultaneously telling conservatives to sit down and shut up. The self-righteous Republicans will kill the Republican Party. But none of this means anything if it can't be brought into an actual story of the day. So let's lighten things up a bit and talk about Ferguson. Now, I pray for Mike Brown and his family, but I'm not going to speak on the case until I know exactly what happened. How I wish so many other people could take from that example. But it's also because I have a soft spot for young black men that the world only sees as thugs. When I look at people like Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin, I think of my brothers, my cousins, and my friends. This tends to shade me from seeing some truths because I want to see the best in them. I can't separate my emotions, so all I can offer is silence and speak until I can speak on facts. But what I want to tackle is the recent lashing out at Democrats by the people of towards Democrats by the people of Ferguson. Don't be fooled. During this entire process, no hearts have been changed, only angered. A lash of the tongue doesn't mean that they're going to show up for Republicans in November. I'm going to make two exceptions with Paul Ryan and Rand Paul. But other than that, no Republican is trying to win the hearts and minds of the black community. Now, let me be completely honest. With some of the behavior that's going on in Ferguson, some people would ask, why would we go? Easy. To show that we can differentiate between mostly the outsiders who have came in and those who are perfectly fit to be Democrats. We have to be able to show that we know that there are people on the ground who want actual change. Do you think that the main concern of the citizens in Ferguson is the war on women, or raising the minimum wage, or income equality? No. They are mad because their babies are dying in the streets, which I guess will take us to number 3 on BuzzFeed. And I can share a moment of clarity with you guys real quick. I'm guessing the moment should have came when my brain was lit on fire with facts and names I'd never known. I'm guessing you all questioned the lesson I learned that turned me to the right side or the white side, depending on who asks. I'm guessing that's why you look surprised that instead of pulling out a pre-recorded line from my talking points bag, I rhyme instead. I'm guessing some are saying she's on a college campus. She should be serious. I am. So serious, in fact, to give you my moment of clarity, first I have to give you all of me. Poetry. I stopped one step short of asking for a beat. Now back to this moment of clarity of which I speak. I always get asked the same question. What made you a conservative? I hate that damn question. Apathy, indifference, or frustration. 5 years later, God speaks revelation. Time has been wasted on irrelevant procrastination because my moment didn't come from man. My moment didn't come from the church. My moment didn't come from politics. My moment didn't come from culture. My moment started with the people. How much death could we take? How much poverty could we embrace when hopes and dreams are at stake? How many God-given talents will we waste? And the only place that I can find voices that sound like mine, that cry the same tears, experience the same fears, with the same goals and aspirations, the same drives and calculations, the same observations that make hope and change negligible as an actual destination, are in hip-hop. So I rhyme because I'm serious. I rhyme because I'm furious. I don't care who doesn't like it. I need young ones to hear this. We are dying. Whether we kill our babies in the womb or follow drugs to the tomb or lay unemployed in our mother's living room. Whether we pull triggers and kill our own reflection or use the haves and have-nots in our selection or destroy the lives of others due to our own depression. If you want to talk about police brutality, then stop pushing gun laws that lessen citizens' protections because we are dying. And that's my moment of clarity. And if it had to say it without rhyme, there would be tears in my eyes and a frog in my throat, and I wouldn't be able to cope. Because when I say that we're dying, I don't mean it as a political trope. We are dying, leaving our streets blood-soaked. Enough. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I created Change the Game. To me, this is not about politics. This isn't about garnering political favor. I am tired of seeing people I love die. I am tired of seeing people I love incarcerated. I am tired of seeing people who look like me don't feel like they're a part of the America that I know blood has been spilt for them to be a part of. That is why this is so important. I don't care if you like hip-hop. It's not meant for you to like. It is meant for me to take a conservative message into the black community and show them there is a methodology to stopping the death in our communities. And that's what I would do until I have no more breath in my body.